on the Mercedes-Benz van phone line right now. I've enjoyed his work on television this past week. Longtime coach in South Carolina, also in Kansas State. Frank Martin here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, Frank?
Rich, how the heck are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
You kidding me? The Dolphins just signed a left tackle. They just got Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
I grew up across the street from the Orange Bowl. We're getting ready to roll again. I'm really happy for it.
So you grew up across the street from the Orange Bowl? Is that right, Coral? You're Coral Gables guy? Is that what you're saying?
Little Havana, next neighborhood over.
Okay.
Little Havana, and we grew up playing on the dirt fields that were surrounding the Orange Bowl. That's where people used to park their cars back in the day, and that was our neighborhood, man. That's grew up sneaking into the games to go watch Larry Zonka and Bonacani and Larry Little and Paul Warfield and the rest of them.
No doubt about it. Shula being the coach of it. I mean, back in the old day. So we were actually wondering what's the real March Madness, the NCAA Tournament or NFL free agency right now. It's kind of crazy. You know?
Up until a week ago is March Madness. Now it's I'm sitting around staring at the wall. So I'm a little excited about the Dolphins and free agency. So here we go.
Frank Martin here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, Frank. So what do you think this story of the first week of the NCAA tournament was? What do you take out of it?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think it's a total reflection as to what's happened over the last 3, 4, 5 years. Everyone's making a big deal about the transfer portal this year because guys are immediately eligible. But we've been averaging 800 transfers a year for 5 straight years. So it's the balance, the difference between a 13 seed and a 4 seed or whatever it may be, a 2 and a 15. Those days are over. It's the 13 and the 4, and 5 and the 12, and so forth. They're a lot closer than they used to be when you combine transfers into one and done. There are certain schools that recruit one and dones, and those kids keep coming and leaving, so they stay young. And then a lot of kids that are backups at the 2 seed don't want to be backups, and they transfer to the 13 seed and makes the 13 seed a lot better. So I think it's a direct correlation between what we've had over the last 5-6 years and the present moment, which I think is awesome. It makes that tournament even that much more fun to watch.
No question. But then when we get down to the Sweet 16, I mean, how much of a run do you think somebody like St. Peter's can truly have when you see what the Blue Bloods are putting out there, having made it this far? What do you think of that, Frank?
Yeah, Rich. You don't get to the round of you don't become a Sweet 16 team as a fluke. It's really hard to get into that tournament, and it's really hard to win in that tournament. Once you get to the Sweet 16, you got a real team. You got real guys. You might not have the popular guys, but you got real guys. And when you got real guys, you got a chance to beat whoever's in front of you, and you're a real team. You're not a dysfunctional team and make it to the Sweet 16. That just doesn't happen. So everyone that's in the Sweet 16 has a real team. I mean, they're a united team and they're a battle-tested team, and everyone that's in the Sweet 16 has really good players. Now, like I always say, everything's matchups. Everything that I was on TV last week. I used the analogy between Foreman, Ali, and Ken Norton. Ali toyed with Foreman. Ali struggled with Norton. Foreman put Norton to sleep. The styles were just opposites, and they just created problems for each other. And it's the same way in the tournament. I think the matchups is a lot more important than the name on the jerseys right now.
Does that make St. Peter's Buster Douglas, Frank? What does that make St. Peter's in your analogy?
No, because they were never fat. They didn't have to get in shape. Those guys were young and hungry from the word go.
So what do you think Matt Painter of Purdue's thinking right now with Shaheen Holloway talking about how he's got kids from New York and New Jersey, and they don't? I'm sure you might have heard that soundbite where he's like, they're not afraid of anybody. He goes, they're not pushed around. We do that, is what he said.
Yeah, well, that's who Shaheen was as a player. Anyone that knows Shaheen, and remembers him. I've known Shaheen since he was a young kid. I mean, he played for Kevin Boyle at St. Patrick's in New Jersey in high school, and I've known Shaheen forever. Shaheen is fearless, and when you see his team play, they've taken on his personality. They're fearless, and he means what he says. I think Matt Painter's not going to lose sleep because Shaheen Holloway's talking about he's got tough kids. Matt Painter has tough kids. The whole thing is matchups, and you know, Matt Painter has two big old bodies inside that I don't think St. Peter's has. So that's a major problem for St. Peter's, is how are they going to identify and deal with Travion Williams and the big kid, Edney or so. I can't pronounce his name. I apologize. Right. You know, but then again, Matt Painter's team, Purdue, based on last week when I studied their numbers a little bit, defensively they have not been a highly efficient team. They've been okay, but not great. And keeping those St. Peter's guards out of the lane is going to be a big challenge for Purdue. So it's all matchups, but that Matt, I can tell you this, Rich. Matt's not rolling in bed right now, worried about Shaheen having tough kids, and Shaheen, that's who he is, and I'm really proud for who he has continued to grow to become, and how good a coach he is right now.
Frank Martin, after a stellar week on TV, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show, talking NCAA Tournament. So you've been talking about matchups, and that's what it's all about, certainly now that we were in the Sweet 16. Which kid in the tournament is the biggest matchup problem? Which team has the biggest matchup problem for anybody, do you think?
I think it's not even close. I think it's the young man Mathurin from Arizona. I think he presents a major problem for everybody because of his rebounding ability, his playmaking ability, his size, his shooting, his athleticism. I think he's the biggest hurdle for anyone to deal with right now. It's interchangeable players are in my belief, and multi-skilled players. I don't care how high you can jump. You got no skills, it's easier to match up with you. But when you're a multi-talented player with size and athleticism, and that's what that young man presents, I think he's the hardest matchup for everybody.
What do you think of Timmy? What do you think of Gonzaga's ability to maybe have somebody like him with the other complementary parts and dynamic kids around him? What do you think of Gonzaga's chances as a 1 seed right now?
Yeah, I think I think Timmy's a big time player. By the way, I love him because I'm battling alopecia, so he's got the best mustache. So I'm really jealous. I wish I could grow one right now. I love him. He's an old school blue collar, no nonsense winner. He doesn't wow you with dunking. He doesn't wow you with like all these incredible fadeaways in between the legs. When the game ends, he's as efficient as anybody on the court, and 95% of the time his team wins, and he's got a lot to do with it. I think he's everything I root for in college basketball.
Frank Martin, what do you think the Coach K finale, how that's playing out in that Duke locker room? Obviously it's we in the media we're all in on following it, and if Coach K cuts down the nets and finishes his career, that might set off 72 straight hours of conversation, even though it's Masters Week and opening day of baseball that week. But the kids in that locker room, don't you? A lot of pressure that would be on these kids to make it happen right now, don't you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was going to post a video of belly flopping in my pool. I was hoping you guys speak about that instead of Coach K. But do you guys want to speak about Coach K winning games? I'm all for it too. No, it's a great story. I think that last home game, just the whole attention, because Duke's a really young team if you pay attention. I think that moment was just really difficult. That's what I would think. And I think Coach K was as much joy and as much having 100 former players there, whatever it was, as much joy as that brought, I don't want to speak for Coach K, but I know there had to be some kind of concern because you got to play the game. You're trying to win. You're not trying to just celebrate your life and your journey as a coach. And but I think they're playing better. I think getting away from that game, they played really well in the ACC tournament, I thought, up until the championship game. But Virginia, they kind of hit lightning in a bottle. Virginia Tech did and made that run. But I think Duke's playing really well right now. It would be an amazing story because I tell people all the time. Everyone talks about our pressure defense and what I coach and teach. It's a combination of what I learned from my high school coach, and as a senior in high school, being in the same tournament as Tommy Amaker, and then following Duke basketball when Tommy became a freshman at Duke, and seeing him pressure the ball, and Johnny Dawkins and Billy King behind the wings, and that Duke pressure combined with what I learned from my high school coach, who I was his assistant coach for many years, developed that mindset. And you're talking about a little Hispanic kid from Miami, Florida, where we had no pro basketball, no college basketball. All I had was seeing Tommy Amaker and then trying to watch Duke on TV. And he impacted me as a basketball person. And that's the value that Mike Krzyzewski's had to our game and our profession and so many people for so many years.
Well, Frank, we're scouring your Twitter handle right now. Don't see any video of you belly flopping into your pool. Where do we find such a thing, Frank?
No, I was going to post it
the
same day Coach Duke plays for the championship. I'm going to post a picture of me belly flopping. I thought more people would pay attention to that than Coach K winning a national championship.
Well, let's give that a whirl, Frank. Let's be honest. I mean, if we already saw Kelvin Sampson with his shirt off, I mean, let's. I think that's just a natural progression of things, Frank.
Hey, Rich, I tell Bruce Pearl and Musselman, and I'm going to tell Kelvin when I speak with him. I did that my whole life growing up in Miami. Now I'm an old man. I don't need to be showing people my body anymore. I mean, listen, I worked really hard for about 24 years to have a six-pack. I had to work a lot harder for the last 40 years to have a one-pack. So keeping this one-pack I've grown is a heck of a lot harder than having a six-pack.
Well, now I'm rooting for Coach K to make that final, because we're going to hold you to it, Frank. That's what we do here on this show. We hold people to what they say. That's what we're all about accountability. You know what I'm saying?
You have my word that if Duke's in the championship game, for whatever it's worth, it's between you and me, I will post a video belly flopping in my pool. Okay,
you got it. It seems like you're really good at this. Well, not seems, you are really good at this TV thing, Frank. Is this your next go round here, or do you have coaching out of your system, or you don't? What do you think?
I still want to coach. I mean, if this was last year, I was really beat up last year, Rich.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was a complicated year for everyone in our world. Me personally, it just beat me up. Last year was really difficult between my health. Professionally, it was difficult. I wasn't happy with my private dealings with the people I work for. It was just a complicated year for me. I'd never been in that moment like I was last year. When you go through that, you question what you do. But as I got removed from last spring, and the players came in the program, and the way that my team fought and listened to me, and the way we played, made me realize there's nothing wrong with me. Professionally, and my health is good again. So I'm able to, if I don't have the energy to help young people, then I don't need to coach. But I've got energy again, and I'm excited. And so I want to get back on the saddle, but it takes an athletic director to hire me. And if someone's willing to give me a job, I'm willing to listen. If not, then, one day I might try that television thing and, see how it goes. I think life my life has been filled with incredible people and stories. And when I get up there, I'm sharing the stories that I've lived, and I'm talking ball, which is what I've done my whole life, 38 years on the sideline. So it seems pretty easy to me.
Well, will you do the next week, or it was just 1 week and finished? Are you back out there this week, Frank? we see you?
No, I don't have anything in store.
Okay.
That was a commitment. I was asked about a month before the end of the season.
Okay.
And assuming we didn't make the tournament, I agreed to do it. And as soon as we weren't picked on Sunday, they called and confirmed. So that's the only thing I had on the docket. So you got something, I'll come over and hang out with you.
Well, Frank, I don't put this number in your phone. I'd love to continue to chat with you throughout this tournament and get your 2 cents on everything. I'm a friend of Rex Chapman's as well. I saw, he posted something you said about youth sports and parenting on his Twitter handle. It went viral for a reason because you have a message and you've got a voice, Coach.
Well, if what I say makes sense and you need me, I'm a phone call away. I'm unlike the previous 38 years of my life, I got some free time on my hands.
Okay. Well, look for my call again. So between that and the belly flop, we'll chat again. Okay. How does that sound?
Done deal.
Okay. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate the 2 cents.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
You got it. That's Frank Martin, everybody, right here on the Rich Eisen. Awesome.
Wow, fun guy.
Why wouldn't an athletic director take a shot on Frank Martin here?
That's a great question, Rich.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.